The big jet plane soared through the endless blue sky. It was on its way to a beautiful island paradise. Inside, Bobby Darin looked out the window at the fluffy white clouds. He smiled a big, happy smile. Next to him sat his wife, the lovely Sandra Dee. She was just as famous as he was. They were Hollywood royalty, a true golden couple. They were heading to Hawaii to renew their wedding vows. It was a special trip, a second honeymoon to celebrate their love. The sun was shining, and their hearts were full of joy and excitement. Sandra leaned her head on Bobby's shoulder. She sighed a happy sigh.
Oh, Bobby, isn't this just dreamy?
Just the two of us, away from the cameras, away from the hustle and bustle of Hollywood. Bobby squeezed her hand gently. He loved her more than words could say. Upon landing, they were greeted with the famous Hawaiian aloha. They checked into a magnificent hotel suite with a balcony over Waikiki Beach. Everything was absolutely perfect, a dream come true. The next morning, Bobby and Sandra decided to explore the local market. It was a vibrant place, full of colorful fruits and handmade crafts. As they strolled through the bustling aisles, a gentle breeze rustled the palm trees above. Suddenly, Sandra stopped. She pointed toward a group of women dressed in white habits.
Bobby, look, aren't they nuns?
She was small and had a cheerful, impish grin. On her head, a large, starched cornette seemed almost ready to take flight. It was Sister Bertrille from the convent Santanko. Sister Bertrille was in Hawaii with her fellow nuns and their friend, the nightclub owner, Carlos Ramirez. When Sister Bertrille saw the famous couple, her eyes lit up with delight. With a little encouragement from the wise Sister Jacqueline, she approached them shyly.
Excuse me, you're Sandra Dee and Bobby Darin, aren't you? Oh, this is such an honor.
Bobby and Sandra were charmed by the friendly nun. They chatted for a while, laughing.
It's going to be a simple affair on the beach in a few days. We would be so honored if you would come.
Sister Bertrille clapped her hands together with glee.
We would be delighted. A celebration of love is a blessing to witness.
As Bobby and Sandra walked away, they felt they had made some truly special new friends in this island paradise. The morning of the vow renewal dawned bright and serene. Alone in the hotel suite, Sandra Dee took a quiet moment to herself, breathing in the sweet air from the balcony, breathing in the salty air from the balcony. The gentle breeze played with her hair as she gazed out over the sparkling Pacific, the sounds of distant waves and birdsong mingling in the air. She felt a sense of peace, her heart full with anticipation for the day ahead. But as she lingered, a prickle of unease crept up her spine. From the corner of her eye, far below, unfamiliar figures lingered near the gardens. Watchful, unmoving, out of place among the cheerful bustle of the resort. Sandra shrugged off the feeling, turning her attention back to the view, not knowing eyes were tracking her every move. Moments later, as she stepped back inside, the atmosphere shifted. A soft shuffle, a whisper of movement. Then gloved hands clamped over her mouth. Panic surged. Everything happened in a blur. Her world spun, feet barely touching the ground as she was hurried through hidden corridors, down service elevators, out a back exit. The sunlit paradise faded, replaced by the harsh interior of a waiting van. The ride was a silent jolt through the city's back streets, her heart pounding in her chest. When the van finally stopped, Sandra was led into a dimly lit warehouse, the air cool and heavy with the scent of oil and dust. Alone now, fear threatened to overwhelm her. But through the terror, a spark of resolve flickered. She was scared, but she would not give up hope. Somewhere out there, Bobby would be searching for her. And Sandra Dee was determined to stay strong no matter what came next. The day of the vow renewal arrived, and the sky was a perfect, cloudless blue. Bobby was getting ready in their hotel suite, feeling a little nervous and excited, just like on their first wedding day. He had a beautiful new ring for Sandra.
Sandy, honey, are you almost ready? Our new friends will be arriving soon.
There was no answer. He thought maybe she had stepped out onto the balcony to enjoy the morning air. A gentle breeze billowed the curtains of the open balcony door. On a small table, a single perfect hibiscus flower sat next to an untouched glass of pineapple juice. Her beautiful white dress for the ceremony was laid out on the bed, but Sandra was nowhere to be found. He searched the suite, calling her name over and over, his voice growing more frantic with each passing moment. Panic began to set in. Bobby rushed down to the hotel lobby and asked the staff if they had seen his wife. No one had. He checked the pool, the restaurant, the beach, but there was no sign of her. That's when he saw it. Tucked under the hibiscus flower was a small folded piece of paper that hadn't been there before. With trembling hands, Bobby unfolded the note. The message was short and chilling, made from letters cut out of a magazine. It read, "We have your wife. Wait for instructions. Do not call the police." Bobby's blood ran cold. It was a kidnapping. He had to get her back. Just as despair threatened to overwhelm him, there was a knock at the door. It was Carlos Ramirez, arriving for the ceremony. He took one look at Bobby's pale, distraught face and knew something was terribly wrong.
"Bobby, my friend, what is it? Where is Sandra?"
Bobby showed him the ransom note. Carlos's eyes narrowed.
"Do not worry, we will find her. It could put Sandra in more danger. These amateurs, they are often jumpy. We must be smart. We must be careful."
He and Bobby went over the suite again, looking for any clue the kidnappers might have left behind. Carlos noticed things Bobby had missed. He saw faint scuff marks near the balcony. They decided to work together, forming an unlikely team. Bobby, the famous singer, driven by love and fear. Carlos, the smooth operator, driven by loyalty to his new friends. They needed a plan. Carlos suggested they start by discreetly asking questions around the hotel. Carlos, using his natural charm and a few crisp dollar bills, managed to talk to a laundry worker. The worker remembered seeing a strange van, a plain white one, parked in a service alley early that morning. It wasn't a hotel vehicle. It was a small lead, but it was a start. They would not rest until Sandra was safe. While Bobby and Carlos were starting their investigation, Sister Bertrille, Sister Jacqueline, and Sister Sixto arrived at the hotel, ready to celebrate. They were met not with wedding bells, but with the terrible news. Sister Bertrille's heart went out to Bobby. She knew she had to do something to help. She looked up at the sky, then at her large aerodynamic cornette. An idea began to form. She could use her special gift to search for Sandra from above, spotting things from a vantage point no one else could reach. As the nuns were consoling Bobby, another group arrived. It was the cast of the TV show Gidget.
"Kidnapped? On our watch? No way, Daddy-O. The whole surf crew is here to help."
Suddenly, Bobby's small search party had grown into a formidable, if unusual, team. Gidget and her friends knew every beach, cove, and hidden trail on the island.
"We'll be your eyes and ears on the water."
Sister Bertrille explained her part of the plan. While the surfers covered the sea, she would cover the land from the air. Sister Jacqueline, though worried, gave her blessing. They could search the coastline on their surfboards much faster than anyone could on foot. She would wait for a strong gust of wind and then take flight, soaring over the island to look for the white van or any sign of Sandra. And so, the plan was set. A convent of nuns, a crew of surfers, were about to launch the most unusual rescue mission Hawaii had ever seen. Sister Bertrille caught a perfect trade wind and soared high above the island, scanning the roads, forests, and secluded beaches. They all converged on the plantation. The kidnappers were two bumbling wannabe criminals planning to demand a huge ransom. They had tied Sandra loosely to a chair inside an old warehouse, never expecting such a large rescue party. The plan was simple and fun. Carlos pretended to be a wealthy tourist to create a diversion. While he distracted the kidnappers, Gidget and Moon Doggy snuck in and quickly untied Sandra.
It took you all long enough.
As they snuck out, Sister Bertrille caused a sudden mysterious gust of wind that toppled a stack of empty pineapple crates. The loud crash sent the kidnappers running. Just when everyone thought the adventure was over, a commotion erupted near the old airstrip at the edge of the plantation. The two hapless kidnappers, still desperate for a big score, had hatched one last harebrained scheme: escape the island in a rickety single-engine plane they'd borrowed from a local crop duster. With a sputter and a cloud of blue smoke, the plane bounced down the runway, the criminals inside fumbling with controls and arguing about which lever actually made the plane go up. But little did they know, Sister Bertrille was already on the case, or more accurately, on the wing. Catching a perfect updraft, the flying nun soared after them, habit streaming behind her like a superhero's cape. As the plane lumbered into the sky, she landed squarely on its tail, clinging to the metal with one hand and clutching her rosary beads with the other. Inside the cockpit, the kidnappers' eyes bulged as they caught sight of her in the rearview mirror. "Is that a nun?" one stammered, while the other frantically flipped through the flight manual, looking for the chapter on dealing with unexpected nuns. With a quick prayer and a flick of her wrist, Sister Bertrille looped her prayer beads through the tail rudder, jamming it just enough to force the plane into a gentle, spiraling descent. The kidnappers shrieked and clung right into the arms of the local police, whom Sister Jacqueline had discreetly called. Sandra was safe. The reunion with Bobby was full of tears, laughter, and loving embraces. That evening, as the sun set in a blaze of orange and pink, Bobby Darin and Sandra Dee finally renewed their vows on the beach. They were surrounded by all their new friends, the kind nuns, the fun-loving surfers, and the smooth-talking Carlos. Sister Bertrille stood beside Sister Jacqueline, her heart full. Gidget and Moon Doggy held hands, watching the happy couple. Bobby and Sandra said their vows, their voices filled with more love and gratitude than ever before. It wasn't the quiet ceremony they had planned, but it was so much more. It was a celebration of love, friendship, and the wonderful unexpected adventures that make life truly special.